Yo, 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 what's up, what's up? Detroit is definitely in the building via your headphones, stereo, and speakers. Of course, this is your main man, the African Caesar, and this is another daily edition of the Sneaker Box Morning Show. Once again, working out those kinks. Um, but yeah, yesterday went real good, man. I felt great about it. The idea seems to um, resonate with a lot of people. A lot of people think it's a great idea, something new and something different. So just bear with me as we get through this. But there's a lot of things I do want to touch on today. It seems like, you know, a lot of things happened yesterday. I know everybody was talking about the Benjamin Kicks IG post that went up. I know there, there's a lot of discussion around that and, clout and resellers and bots and all that other stuff. There's also, I really wanted to get into the conversation about um, mischief and the Vans lawsuit. Like that's an interesting story, to say the least, as well as some other things that I wanted to get into. But first, um, let me introduce the social media for those who want to follow the show and see what we have going or coming up, or just want to just follow us and see what we have to post. You can follow us on Twitter at TSB underscore radio. You can follow the show on Instagram at the sneakerbox underscore radio, and then or underscore show. I'm sorry, and then you can follow us on Facebook by looking up the Sneakerbox Radio Show page. And I encourage everybody to kind of interact through the live chat for now until we get things set up differently. Try to answer and respond to all the comments that I see. Also, if you aren't able to tune in to the live show, you can always um, catch us on our voicemail hotline at 248-677-1803. You can leave any of your sneaker comments and questions on there, and we'll try to respond to them as you send them. So, once again, that number is 248-677-1803. All right, well, starting it off, I don't think there's any releases today. So, I'm pretty sure that's going to allow people's wallets to take a breath before the next batch of releases drop. Um, it's a lot of shoes. I mean, I remember back in the day growing up, we had shoes coming out every blue moon. I think it was like what 3 or 4 Jordans that were released in a year. Always on it used to be on Saturdays, and then at some point somebody got the bright idea to release them on Wednesdays. Because what could possibly go wrong, right? Other than kids skipping school to go get the shoes, which is what happened. Which is why they went back to Saturdays. Um, I got caught a few times skipping school to go get some shoes. And that's back at a time too where you know, pretty much anybody that bought sneakers on a consistent basis, you had a relationship with somebody in the store, whether it was the manager or somebody else. And if you were lucky, they would hold a pair for you. A lot of times that didn't happen. So, or everybody can't have a connect, right? It's impossible. Even if they wanted to look out for you, they couldn't. There's only so many shoes to go around. There's only so many shoes they can hold. So, yeah, that was a problem. So, at some point, they went back to Saturdays because I guess there was enough complaints from teachers and parents complaining about kids missing school. So, anyway, so yeah, so no releases. Also, real quick too, this is something I want to mention going forward, because this is something that I recognized or realized as I was creating recreating the release date calendar, is different brands have different um, releases when they release online. Like Adidas, they release at 3 a.m. in the morning, and Reebok will release at midnight. And then obviously, Nike releases 10 in the morning. So what I'm gonna try to do, like, so for instance, if I know a shoe is gonna release at midnight on a Wednesday or 3 a.m. Wednesday morning, I'm gonna try to give you guys a heads up on Tuesday, like just to kind of as a reminder. And then when Wednesday hits, as I'm going through that day's releases, I'll also remind you like, hey, those shoes might still be available because who's up at 3 a.m. Looking for shoes. So just kind of a heads up there. That's something that I guess I didn't really consider when I was putting together the release dates. So anyway, a lot to get into. First, it's been actually a pretty eventful NBA playoffs. I've enjoyed it, and I said this yesterday. Like I'm actually enjoying not having a dog in the fight, just enjoying the games as they come. Not really um, picking a team to win, or at least getting behind a team to win. Um, and I think that makes it enjoyable more. I don't know why. Like it's just I don't care. Like because sometimes when your team is losing, it could just ruin your night. Like if you're a Nets fan, if that exists, I've always felt like Nets fans were just like Knicks fans when the Knicks weren't successful, right? Like so, if the Nets were more successful, or they got into the playoffs and the Knicks didn't, it's like all right, well, I guess we got to root for the Nets. Um, I ain't met too many Nets fans. Like, what have they really done in the history outside of the ABA? So, anyway, that was the NBA playoffs. It's yes. My bad. I got distracted. This cat is doing something to my couch. This is. I told y'all I do not like pets. No, I like pets. I just don't want to actually have one. And so, you know, counting down the days to where he can go back home. But anyway, um, hey Babs, what's up? Anyway, NBA playoffs. Yes, man, I'm actually enjoying it. I gotta say, I gotta admit though, I'm happy as a basketball fan, as a pure basketball fan. I'm happy to see both the Nets and the Lakers at home. I'm happy for it because this whole super team, let's all just build an AAU team and beat up on everybody. Um, that whole thing, hopefully, is run its course. Hopefully, we go back to actually building balanced teams where you have, one or two stars, and then you have role players that are able to develop and become stars that are own because they are playing with superstars. See, we got like a lot of these teams are just all right. We got two, three, superstars, and then got a bunch of mediocre role players to fill out the rest of the roster because there's only so much money to go around, right? You do have a cap on what you can spend. So hopefully we go back to building balanced teams because that's the whole point of having a role player. Role players do the dirty work that the superstars either can't or won't, right? Like even when you think about like I think about like the Lakers when they had Kobe and Shaq, like you still had Robert Ory, Derek Fisher, Rick Fox. You still had the supporting cast that, when Kobe and Shaq were having moments where they weren't necessarily at their best, they could step in and hit a shot or two, and you could depend on that. Even the Bulls, you had Steve Kerr, Horace Grant, John Paxson. You name every great team, they had role players that you could name off the top of your head that would kind of fill in the blanks when the superstar, because they are human. They got to sit down at some point and catch a break, right? So this is why you have a bench. So yeah, it's I'm loving. I love the Celtics. I love the way they're playing. Once again, I'm not a huge Celtics fan, but as of this NBA playoff season, I've become a fan because I like the way that they play team ball. Um, Everybody else, I don't know. I talked about it yesterday. It just seems like it's a 3-point contest. Let's just chuck up threes and see. Basically, that's what it is. It's just who can make the most threes. Um, Golden State has ruined it for everybody else. The problem is not everybody has a Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. So, you know, like shots look great when they go in, and then they look horrible when they don't. So, anyway, there's a lot of things I want to get into. Um, since we're on basketball, you start off with Ben Simmons. Now, okay, I'm a segue. This is a sneaker show, so I'm gonna segue into it. But the whole Ben Simmons debacle. that whole thing, man, I don't know how y'all feel about that. I don't know how everybody else feels about it. I just feel like dude has lost all benefit of the doubt, and at this point, it's just getting to the ridiculous. Like first he pouted because the team, the Sixers, when he was playing for him, didn't support him. Dude, you were super well allegedly a superstar, right? Or at least they were hoping you would turn into one. Like seriously, like an ounce of critique is enough to just get you to just pout and not want to play no more. So then he tries not to play, and then when he finds out that hey, they can like fine you and take some of that money that they could be paying you, then all of a sudden it's mental health, right? And everybody's scared to call him out on it because nobody wants to be the one that's seen to be attacking somebody with mental health issues. But he's hiding behind that. He's using that to hide behind. It was only an issue once they talked about they could legitimately take his money. That's the only time it became an issue. Then all of a sudden, voila, he has this ailment that can't nobody discuss or talk about because it's taboo or whatever. Then he gets traded finally at some point in the season, probably around the trade deadline, from what I remember. And then his back, his back becomes an issue. Now I don't know, like somebody correct me if I'm wrong, right? When they trade you, you have to go through a physical evaluation, right? Like in order for the trade to go through. So I would like to think that the back thing would have come up at some point. And even if you don't even want to think, even if that isn't the case, why's your back hurt? You ain't did nothing all day. You've been sitting down, dude. Like, and once if you ask me, this should like torpedo whatever case he's trying to file now, trying to get that back money, or the money that he feels like he's owed back from the Sixers. Because okay, let's just say you had mental health, even though I don't believe it. Let's just say you had mental health, right? You still have an obligation to still work out and be in game shape so that when you overcome whatever mental health hurdles you have, you're ready to go. So the fact that, I think when he first brought up his back issues, it's like, oh, from sitting down for so long. So you didn't do any training whatsoever. You ain't do nothing to stay in game shape whatsoever while you were dealing with your health issues, mental health issues. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just too many holes in this dude's story. Then, well, a couple of days ago, everybody's talking about he's coming for game four. I think he even posted something, alluding to the fact that he was going to come back for game four just to not come out and play. And then, once again, no, then it was like, oh, it's his back. And then, was it Rich Paul and them had a conversation with management with the Nets? Now, all of a sudden, it's a mental health thing again. Like okay, look, if mental health means he's too scared to come back and face whatever backlash he's going to receive from the fans, then that's never going to go away. If anything, it's only going to grow the longer you draw this out. So you might as well just get this shit over with. What are we waiting on? What's up? And Unaverage Joe, what's up? What's up? Been following you all since 2016. This is awesome. I appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. But yeah, so that's just where I'm at with the Ben Simmons debacle and that whole thing. Like, I mean, we can deep dive into it further, but it's only so much time in a day, and he's already wasted enough time with his shenanigans. Like, I don't want to give that to him. I just wanted to just discuss what I saw as far as this whole situation because this is just to me a issue. This is a brat. At the end of the day, this is a brat. This is a brat who didn't want to hear any criticism and threw a temper tantrum. And then when he realized that, there's a cost to throwing a temper tantrum and not doing your job. Here's the thing about that contract too. Like people talk about guarantee money, all this other stuff. When you sign, there's two signatures in that contract. One from the ownership and one from the player. Now, if the ownership wasn't holding up the end of the bargain, everybody would be calling them out for it. The players also have an obligation in that contract, and the obligation is to play. And he didn't do that for a number of reasons. So he's not living up to his contract too. And the reason the contract is such a big thing because the CBA ends at the end of 2023 season. You think the owners they're not keeping tabs on this? You don't think they taking notes? They're going to want blood because like there's no way in hell they want to deal with another Ben Simmons issue where somebody's not playing. Just signed a new deal, mind you, got many years left on a deal, and is trying to not play or find reasons to not play and still get paid. Ownership ain't going for that shit because and neither is the NBA. Think about nobody wants to deal with one Ben Simmons. Imagine if you have two, three, four, five of them in one season. Nobody wants that shit. And here's the thing about ownership. They've relented in the last couple CBA negotiations, but I don't think they're going to back down this next one. And on top of that, like people need to realize, owning an NBA team is not their livelihood. Their livelihood is what allowed them to buy the NBA team. Right? This is more of a hobby for them. For the NBA players, this is their livelihood. Remember those same NBA players that, during the shutdown were making an argument? Well, not all of us are making, hundreds of millions of dollars, and we got to come back and play because these players need to make money to feed their families and all that other shit. Remember that same argument? I remember going back to that, and I was saying, and I said it too back then. I mean, I don't even. It's funny how when you start on the topic and the paths that leads you down. But I remember saying back then, forget the season. It's a wash, because at that time that was at the height of Black Lives Matter movements and protests and all that other stuff. And I said then it would be a distraction. But oh no, these guys, they need to make money. The guys at the end of the bench need to make money. Okay. Because there's more of them than superstars, because every team has what, two, let's just say on average, two superstars, right? Out of 30 teams. That's 60 people. The rosters go 12 to 15 deep. So you got 10 plus players on that team that aren't making as much as the top two guys. And that was the whole argument. We got to come back and play for those guys because they need to make money, blah, blah, blah. So when you get to this contract negotiation and, both sides are at a standstill, if you're asking me on this upcoming one, who's going to break first, it's definitely going to be the players. Because this is their livelihood. They depend on that. Not everybody has an endorsement deal. Not everybody's LeBron James or KD or Steph Curry. They'll be fine. They get money from elsewhere. And so when you look at it like that, it's like, Ben Simmons pretty much, and to some degree, is pretty much fucking every other player in the league. Because I mean, like I said, like he's giving them a reason. He's giving them bulletin board material for the next CBA. And Stephen A., I don't agree with him on mostly anything, but I agree with him on this. When they go to the CBA and they go ahead and try to incorporate a new rule to address whatever this Ben Simmons situation is, they're going to call it the Ben Simmons rule, without a question. Like, it's going to be the Ben Simmons rule, and yeah, they coming for blood. That's just my opinion, but let me know how y'all feel in the comments. But in other Ben Simmons news, he just signed a new 3-year deal with Nike. Why? I don't know. I don't like if I'm Nike. I'm like, it depends on how much they paying him. Like if they paying him minimum wage, maybe, because at this point he hasn't even earned that. Like, because at least people with minimum wage work. He hasn't done that in the last year. I mean, he's more of an unemployment guy. So, yeah, if and this is crazy too. Like, I mean, I don't know how much they pay him, but I guess I'll go ahead and read an article written on Yahoo Sports. Ben Simmons has a new 3-year shoe deal with Nike, according to his agent Rich Paul. After advanced negotiations with New Balance didn't result in the deal, so I guess he was dancing with New Balance, or at least flirting with them, for a while, and it didn't happen. League sources say that New Balance got well down the line towards signing Ben earlier this season, even though he wasn't playing at the time. But they couldn't convince him to leave his preferred brand, Nike. Okay, so you mean to tell me that these two brands saw what was unfolding in front of them, and they were fighting over this dude for what? Like if I'm first of all, if I'm New Balance, I'm like we dodged a bullet. Because if you're New Balance, think about it like this: you're New Balance, right? You're not known for your basketball sneakers yet, right? Who knows what the future holds? But as of now, you're not known for your basketball sneakers. Yeah, you got Kawhi, but he ain't played either due to injury. We can at least give him the benefit of the doubt, even though I guess you could make an argument, stuff he did in San Antonio and whatever. But, he has more benefit of the doubt than Ben does. So if you're trying to establish a basketball category, the last thing you need is somebody who isn't playing basketball. You need players who are playing basketball to showcase your sneakers on court, not on the bench, but on the court. So yeah, you dodged the bullet if you're New Balance. Now if you're Nike, man, I mean, look at the roster. Like maybe they just don't care. And two, I mean, it depends on what deal they also gave one too, because there's signature shoe deals and then there's endorsement deals. An endorsement deal is basically, we'll provide you with shoes. You don't get your own shoe or nothing. We might, we'll give you, obviously they'll get their pickings on anything that releases, like as far as like off white this or union that, But as far as like on court, we're gonna give you these GT jumps or whatever is our marquee Nike basketball performance sneaker, and you get to pick your own colorways on it, right? Stuff like that, but you don't get like your own signature shoe, and that's what I think is going to end up happening. Like I think he's just going to have an endorsement deal where he's just wearing, some generic Nike basketball sneaker and a Nets colorway or whatever team he's on next year. It wouldn't surprise me if next year this is still an ongoing situation. The Nets are looking to unload him onto somebody else. But yeah, so I I mean, think about. I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, he has it pretty good. To not have played a game this year and you got at least two brands trying to sign you. And imagine being Ben Simmons walking into New Balance and just being like, nah, I prefer Nike. Like, luckily it worked out because Nike did end up signing him, but did he know that? Did he know? Like, so he went to New Balance. I'm guessing that maybe Nike lowballed him or whatever, and so this is just some type of negotiation ploy where you flirt with another brand and act like they're going to offer you something more to get the brand you really want to, increase what they're offering. I don't know if that was the play, but it just seems to me just this kind of it just looks ridiculous. Like if I'm Nike, I feel ridiculous. So New Balance, I'm like, man, we dodged a bullet. We need players that can show what our sneakers can do, not players sitting on the sideline doing nothing. So, um, real quick, I know this was like a huge topic last year, and I've seen a lot of people talking about it. You have the Ben Benjamin Kicks, uh, that whole situation, and I gotta tell you, if there was, if I had to make a list of people that annoy me in what we call sneaker culture today, he would definitely make the list. Like he annoyed me years ago. He still annoys me now. All right, that's how I honestly feel about the kid. I've seen him at a few sneaker shows, and it was just kind of like I could care less. There was one person on the show, a girl, who just had to have a picture with him. So yeah, it was just kind of like, all right, like, get your picture out the way. Let's get the shit over with. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like I just had this thing, as somebody who grew up, you know, and had to earn everything they got. There's just something that just in me that just instantly get annoyed when you're around some trust fund kid who just thinks his shit don't stink. Like it's just something naturally annoying about that. Like I don't know what it is. And here's the crazy part: like if I was well to do, right, and my daughter was able to live a life like of luxury, like I don't knock him for being born to a wealthy family. I don't knock him for enjoying that lifestyle. I'm not knocking him for that. I'm knocking him for his attitude. I'm knocking him for being a douchebag. I'm knocking him, you know, for being such a clout chaser. That's the shit I'm knocking him for. Like I'm knocking him for being annoying as fuck. That's what I'm knocking him for because it's just like, dude, just you know what I'm saying? Like you had money that gave you access to things that normal people wouldn't have access to. So quit acting like you hustled. Quit acting like you know, like you didn't. Your job is basically not to fucking blow whatever your father earned in his lifetime and passed on to you. That's your job. Is to not mess it up. That's really what your job is. You know, you got in the sneakers, and here's the thing: like he got in the sneaker. Like this is how you know it's 100% clout, right? Because okay, I'm gonna maybe should I say what I want to say and then read it, or all right, let me say what I want to say and then I'm gonna read whatever he posted yesterday on his IG story. It's 100% clout because he doesn't need it, you know. But the thing is, being a rich kid wasn't enough to get him attention. But having sneakers or selling sneakers and posting it and throwing it in everybody's faces as far as how many sneakers he has, that's what gets him the attention, right? And that's sad, like that you are that needy, even with all the money you had before you got into sneakers, that you need that type of attention. You know, that to me. But anyway, he posted something yesterday where I mean it's been making the rounds. But anyway, he said everyone's blaming Union, and it's so funny because I don't know what everyone doesn't understand. I've been doing this, and I keep doing this. I don't even know what that means. I've been doing this, and I keep doing this. Like antagonizing people or reselling. Like I don't know what it is. Um, what exactly have you been doing and you keep doing? Like specifically, my back door so big only I can stop me. Okay, bro. Like here's the thing. Like okay, whatever, man. I've been doing this since 2016 and I love it here. Every release, you guys blame a new store. What if my back door isn't a store, but it's the blank themselves? Like, okay, so I guess we got to fill in the blank. Now, here's the problem I have. Once again, this is the whole clout generation, and this is how. Let's just take what he said and let's assume it's the brand, right? Because that's what it seems like he wants to hint at. Why? Okay, once again, clout. You don't announce the plug. We obviously know you getting it from somewhere. You don't go on social media and basically hint at the plug. That's how you fuck up the bag. Like that's how, bro. Like that's the it, man. I don't know if y'all understand what I'm saying. Like I don't know if I'm just so old school. There was a way we used to do things, right? You keep that stuff in a hush hush. Like you don't tell everybody this is where I'm getting it from, or you don't allude. Even you don't even allude to it because now it brings attention to those people and it messes it up for everybody involved. So let's just say it is like so I guess the picture he posted was with the Union 2s, right? Okay. So on one hand he's taking or alleviating pressure off a Union because he's implying that it isn't through them, which I don't know if it necessarily helps them. Maybe it does, but you still got people dealing with charges. I guess people got charged multiple times for like the same shoe, and there's people uh, that are still dealing with that. Like they actually got charged, like actually went through, is no longer pending, and actually hit their account. So now they're trying to handle it with their banks because Union stopped responding to a lot of people. So I don't know if he. I don't know if it helps them because I bump whatever Benjamin Kicks posted. I got to deal with the missing money in my account. Benjamin Kicks ain't helping that situation. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but let's just say he got him from Jordan Brand to Nike. Now, if you're Nike and Jordan Brand, and this is on the heels of Marcus Jordan's situation last year, the Ann Herbert situation and her son, do you need Benjamin Kicks adding to that shit right now? No, you don't need that grief. So what are you gonna do? You gonna hit him up and say, you know what? No more. You're done. Because that's dumb. That was just dumb. Now, I don't personally believe that he's getting it from the brands. I think that he's getting a mix. If you're asking me, with the volume of shoes that he has, or at least seen, or at least his picture with, it seems to me that he has a good mix of UAs and legitimate pairs. Right? There's a saying: every good lie has a little bit of truth. The reason is that a liar gets you to focus on the true parts of what they're saying, so that they can kind of slide the lie in underneath, and you know, it's like a sleight of hand type of thing. And it's the same thing with that. It's like, okay, I'm gonna have these legit pairs, so you can't question what I'm selling you, but I'm gonna slide these UAs underneath too because I've already convinced you that I have legit pairs because I showed you the legit pairs that I do have. So now you don't question the rest of the stuff I have. That's what I think. Now, do I know that for a fact? No. Can I prove it? No. What's up, Kryptonite Souls? Ben pitching UAs. I'm assuming that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going with it. I think he has a good mix of legit pairs and UAs. Now, I personally don't like UAs because those are fakes. You know, UAs get a now. That's a whole nother rabbit hole as far as the discussion because on one hand, I understand why people are getting UAs. I understand why. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. Like if the brands are going to sit up there and manufacture the production numbers so they can create this fake demand for the product, and people are tired of getting L's and they're tired of missing out on their favorite shoes. I understand the the them wanting to go another route. I understand that. Like, I don't agree with it, but I understand it. And so, yeah, like the brands are kind of the reason why UAs have taken, like spiked up over the last, 5 years. And so people don't care no more. Like, you got a lot of people who are like, and I mean, it's to the point now where they're up front, like, yeah, these are UAs. They don't even care. Like, there used to be a time where that was like taboo. It was like, nah, you don't want to be seen with them. You don't want nobody to know that you have them. But now people are like, whatever. So, I mean, to each their own. But I that's my honest opinion. If you asking me, like, there's no way that he has that many shoes, that much volume. There's just no way. Like, unless, yeah, like, and then for him to come out with his IG story, you know, basically hinting that he's getting it directly from manufacturer or from a brand. Yo, like you putting a spotlight on, like, dude, like if you, man, see the thing is, he's so rich or he was well off, so he doesn't know the game like that as far as what to do and what not to do because it isn't going to have any real impact on him because at the end of the day, he still comes from a wealthy family. So he doesn't have to live off sneakers. He's just doing it for the attention and for the clout. So he doesn't have to think about the ins and outs and the rules to the game like that because he has money already. He doesn't have to think about that. So yeah, so it's and honestly, and it's funny because you see a lot of people. It's two sides, right? There's people that obviously are annoyed by it and just like pointing at him as the reason the sneaker culture is the way it is, and then you have other people defending him, which makes absolutely no sense. Like, I it makes absolutely no sense. Look, I might not. I don't understand this whole defense of somebody like, oh, he's making money. Yeah, you doing this, all this other stuff. Like, dude, like, so is the dude with the EpiPen. You can literally make that argument for him. Well, he's making money. Like, dude, but this you know what I'm saying? There's levels to this. Now, granted, the EpiPen is more of a life and death situation, so I don't want to make it um, too analogous with sneakers. At the end of the day, nobody's living or dying if they don't get a pair of sneakers, right? But I'm just saying, like, you got a lot of people really caping up for dude, like defending him, and it's just like, yo, like, do you need? Like, he doesn't need to do what he's doing. That's the thing. Like, if you was talking about somebody, so the whole okay. So here's the thing about hustling, right? And I think I said this on the show. Typically, hustlers are people who had to hustle because they didn't have any other avenue in which to make any money or to provide for themselves, right? Because people with careers don't have to hustle. They have careers, they make good money. It's the people without careers that have to hustle and those other stuff. And so I think that's what makes it annoying is because it's like, dude, you don't have to do this. You're just choosing to do this. And it's like, but for what? What's the reason? You're not providing anything because you're taking if anything, you're taking away some people's ability to get the shoe just to charge them $200-300 plus for the same shoe they could have got had your ass just stayed out of it. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the chat right now. Let me see what the chat is. You got Gigantor38. He's arrogant. He's rich, and overall, he's white. If Marcus Jordan got off with no consequences, so will he. Well, Marcus Jordan got off because his daddy is Michael Jordan. But I get what your point is. Kryptonite Souls, no, he was just creating online buzz with his posts. People are catching on to the BS. I mean, he could just be full of shit too, you know. But why bring attention to yourself like that? Because you don't think the brands are gonna be like, what? Like, let's just say the brands aren't working with him, but now you acting like you are. Now they're gonna be like, yo, like, where is he getting this shit from? Like, you ain't getting it from us. You ain't gonna put us out there. Like I said, if you Nike and Jordan brand and you still recovering or just got over what happened last year as far as Ann Herbert and her son and Marcus Jordan and on Trophy Room ones, do you need Benjamin Kicks right now? Muddy in the waters? I don't think so. Um, what we got? What we got? Giganto38 says Nike doesn't care about because the mainstream outside of our 1% won't even see the story. They'll drop the next hype release and they'll be on to the next influencer with a garage full of shot ones. You're right to a degree. I agree with you. Uh, yeah, I agree with you. That's the thing. Like, when we talk about sneakers, I think a lot of people forget that it's still like a niche market, as big as it is, because we comparing it to the rest of the world. You know, like when you look at the list of the top selling sneakers, or just let's just make it Nike, like the top selling Nikes, they're not Unions and Off Whites, and because they don't make enough pairs to make money off of them. Usually, it's shoes that you ain't never heard of that are like the top selling, like the top 10 sellers. You might see like one Jordan on there. Like that should tell you everything. You might see one or two Jordans on that list as far as like the top 10 sellers of the year because there's more people buying, what's the dad shoe called? Oh, shit. I can't remember what the dad shoe is. But there's more people buying those than there are buying the stuff that we buy up, you know. But, some people in the sneaker community swears that the universe revolves around us as opposed to us just being a part of a bigger world. But it is what it is. People will call you dumb for wearing retail, for paying too much. Game different now. I agree with you. Like, there's nothing to be proud of. Yeah, these shoes came out for $200, but I spent $500. All right. Okay, and that's an achievement to you, like like that makes absolutely no sense to me. I mean, I've gotten to the point now where if I can't get it for retail, I just don't need it. or if I can't get it for a good price, I don't need it. Like I'm done. And I need everybody to hear me when I say this. I need y'all to hear me when I say this. Because I know a lot of times we blame the resellers. And to a degree, yes, they have a slice of that guilt pie, right? But we as consumers, we have a share of that pie too. Because it is a buyer's market. The problem is that there are people out there who buy the product and justify resellers charging as much as they do, right? Because a reseller is the concept is buy the shoe, sell it for a price more than what you bought it for. That's how you make money, right? Unless you're an idiot. So if there are people out there willing to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on a shoe, then they have nobody to sell it to. So they're either going to leave the marketplace and go on to something else, or they're going to have to bring those prices down. But as long as we're willing to pay those resale prices, the resellers are going to charge those resale prices. We collectively got to say, you know what, that's some bullshit. And when you spend $1,000, man, like basically what you're saying is, the clout attached to this shoe is worth $1,000 because it ain't the shoe itself; it's the clout, it's the attention, right? That's what it really comes down to. Because half the time, some of these shoes that y'all spend a lot of money on ain't even worth. There's better shoes out there, but that's the that's the hype around that shoe. The hype dictates what the resale price is and all that other stuff. But yeah, this is a buyer's market. Whether you like that or not, whether you agree with that or not, it is a buyer's market. The problem is there are people that are voluntarily paying those resale prices. And so until we collectively as a community say, you know what, no more of that shit, we're not paying this much for a shoe, then it's going to be an issue. We have some power. Like there's power in the wallet. Like I said this yesterday. Like we'll complain about Nike and still go back. We'll come back every Saturday. You know, and so I mean, until we realize, there's other shoes, there's other sneakers than Nike and Jordans. Like New Balance got some dope sneakers, Asus got some dope sneakers, Saucony got some dope sneakers. Hell, even Reebok got some dope shit coming out soon. Like, there's other people that you can spend your money with. You don't have to buy Nikes if you want to. That's if you want to make a point. Now, if you really, really like their product and you really, really want it that bad, I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying for those of you who don't like what they're doing in certain instances, there's ways to get their attention. I'm telling you right now, complaining about it ain't gonna change their mind. Because has it worked yet? No. Remember last year, like it wasn't until they saw the numbers, when they seen people not using the sneakers app as much, when they seen people deviate and start buying from other brands. Like they mentioned New Balance by name. So that's what they notice. They notice where the money's going. This is why they're trying to get you to engage with the sneakers app more, right? Because the numbers started going down. Like shit. Okay, well, if the product that I want ain't there ain't no point of being on there. So now they trying to get you. Well, now if you watch our videos, you get a better chance of getting the shoe now. If you watch our videos, we might drop something while the video is playing. So you want to be there so you can be first in line. That type of shit. So that's what they notice, right? Like they don't. I mean, they hear the complaints, but it's like white noise at this point. So yeah, we as a community need to start putting more action behind our words. If we really tired of resale prices, let's stop paying resale prices. It's as simple as that. Yeah, I know you really want that shoe, and it requires, I guess, if you want to call it a sacrifice, not getting your hands on a particular pair of shoes. Then yeah. Ultimately, though, yeah, it might take a while, but it always circles back. There's been a couple of shoes where it's like I wanted them real bad, but I just was not willing to pay that price. And it took like maybe 2-3 years, and then you stumble across a pair at an outlet, or you stumble across a pair on eBay, for a good price, and yeah, it takes longer, but when you're not concerned about clout, when you actually like the shoes, it doesn't matter how much. It doesn't matter when you get them. It doesn't matter how long they sit in the store. What matters is you getting your hands on them, you adding them to your collection. That's what matters, right? So you could care less who's wearing them, what store they're sitting in. Like I hear people say, well, they're sitting like ducks. Okay, why does that matter though? Why does it matter if they're sitting? It doesn't matter to me. Like I could care less who else is wearing this shoe. I like it. That's the point. That's the end all be all to this discussion. When you're talking about my money that I'm spending, the only thing that matters is, do I like it? I could care less what you like and what everybody else is buying. A lot of times I'm like, go buy that shoe, because now it makes it easier for me to go get the shoe that I want. Like I forgot which day it was. Everybody was going. I don't know what shoe dropped. I want to say it was an Air Max, or it was something that everybody was going crazy for, and I was able to get a pair of the Jordan 36s. I want to say it was the black infrared pair, because I really wanted those. Wasn't a lot of hype around those. I'm pretty sure. They a dope looking shoe, and I'm pretty sure they had some people's interest, but it wasn't the soup of the day, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so I remember that morning it was another shoe that released that I knew had more hype. So I was happy. I was like, bet. So the crowd is gonna go that way. I'm gonna go this way. Yeah. So wow, it's a lot of comments. Let me get to these comments. Sheesh. Uh, Gigantor38. He says, or she says, I don't know if it's a he or she. My apologies. Um, to my point, if the brand isn't working with them, it gives credence to your rep argument. Like that's just my, is knowing what I know. Nah, I don't know everything, but knowing what I know, I find it hard to believe he's working directly with a brand, because the brands don't need him. Nike does not need Benjamin Kicks to sell their product. Their product are doing a good enough job selling on their own. They don't need, like, okay, okay, okay. I want y'all to follow me. If Nike is pulling product from Foot Locker, why do they need Benjamin Kicks? Foot Locker is the biggest sneaker retailer in this country. If they're pulling product from Foot Locker, what don't even make sense. That don't even make sense. They don't need him to sell their product. Like, you got to explain to me why they need Benjamin Kicks. Why they are giving him inventory, because they're like, oh, Benjamin Kicks, oh my God, these Union 2s, we're not sure if they could sell, but I'm glad you could come in. We need your help. We need you to sell these shoes. Oh my God, Jordans, they're not selling like they used to, and we need your savvy. We need your expertise. We need your what exactly are they getting from Benjamin Kicks that they don't get already for themselves? That's the logical fallacy in this whole thing. That's what makes this whole house of cards collapse on itself. Like, that's how I don't think, like, you got to explain to me, like, anybody that's actually talked to people in the brand, especially at Nike, when we're talking specifically, because that's what he had in his picture, he had Union Jordan 2s. If you talk to enough people like Jordan Brand and Nike, might be, I'm telling you, as a company, collectively, I'm not trying to broad brush everybody that works there, but I'm just saying, as a company, collectively, you would not find a more arrogant company. You won't. So you got to explain to me why they need you, right? Now Nike, they'll see pairs here and there to certain folks. Pairs, not entire inventories, right? Not an entire store inventory's worth of shit, right? They'll give one shoe, right? I've gotten some shoes, but that's part of their like marketing campaign. Like it's like a ground level marketing, right? Because not everybody can be LeBron James and those other stuff. They realize that there's smaller micro influencers, is what they call them, right? That have more of an impact in their singular communities than a big name does, right? So, but that's besides the point. Like, so that's why I'm calling bullshit on Benjamin Kicks. It's like, dude, you were here's a rich kid trying to be cool. Like, his money wasn't enough, so he's using sneakers to do it. Now if I had rich parents, I'm chilling. I'm chilling. Like, yeah, like if I like shoes, I would buy them. I would still buy shoes, because I got the money to do it, just like I'm doing now. But I wouldn't need the attention. I wouldn't need the clout. I'm rich. I don't need your attention. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta. My bedroom has a 90-inch TV. I don't need your attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, my first car was a Ferrari. I do not need your attention. I do not need your approval. I am doing just fine without either. Right? And that's what makes this whole thing sad. But he's a kid. You know what I'm saying? Kids do dumb shit. So, let me get through these comments. Sheesh. I guess I hit a nerve. Jesse Christ, a.k.a. Thriller. Don't be surprised if Jumpman Pro be on that list. Hey, man. Kryptonite Souls, only clout chasers brag about the price. Exactly. I don't know if you guys remember. First of all, y'all gonna laugh at this shit. So, like, I get annoyed. So one of the things that annoys me when I see people out in the wild wearing sneakers with the StockX tag still on there, because basically that's just a big billboard saying I overpaid for this shoe. Because that's what I instantly jump to. Like, you overpaid for that. How often do you hear people say I got this for a steal on StockX? How often does that happen? Not saying it doesn't happen, but how often does it happen? It's a rare occurrence, right? So, yeah, like, so that's all you doing. It's just a little green billboard in your shoe that says I overpaid. That's what it says to me. And I don't know if you guys remember, there was a viral video that went around last year where somebody was making some type of price tag that you can, like, leave in your shoe, and it was like digital, and it will update with the value of your shoe, right? So let's just say, okay, for the sake of, or yeah, for the sake of argument, let's just say you had the trophy room runs, right? Like, you could put the price tag on there and walk around with it, and it would show you the current value. Like, I'm guessing it's well over $1,000, and it would, fluctuate depending on the value at that moment in time. Once again, clout. Why do I need you to know how much my shoe is? Like, first of all, I grew up in the hood. You walk around with that, and people see how much they value. You're not leaving. At least the shoes ain't leaving with you. You can leave. Leave them shoes here. You know what I'm saying? So, I, yeah, like, why would you walk around with that? Like, yeah, you asking to get got. That's just a bad situation. And plus, you look like an idiot. We're walking around with the price tag. Like, that's just so tacky. But once again, that seems more aimed towards younger people who aren't necessarily thinking, who aren't known for thinking things through, right? It's just instant gratification. It's instant clout. We all did it. This generation just might be on a different level. You know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous. But I can't even think when I was a kid I would want to leave the price tag. That was the first thing coming off. I couldn't wait to throw whatever I just bought on. I'm not trying to leave the price tag on. That's just dumb. Cloud Chasers brag about the price. Agreed. Jesse Christ says consumers should take more of the blame because they consistently have this need to want something early or be exclusive. Resellers are just capitalizing on people's elitist attitude. 100% agree with you on that. 100% agree with you on that. And that's the hard part too, right? Because we want to be mad at the resellers. And I do too. I do too. Like, yes, I'm not, once again, I'm not taking away any blame. They have a share of blame in this guilt pie. However, we do too. And we have to own that. We have to say, you know what? It ain't that deep. Yes, I love sneakers, but it ain't that deep. I'm not about to pay a car note for a shoe. I'm not paying a mortgage for a shoe. I'm not doing it. And I'm telling you, like, I find myself to be at so much peace now. But yeah, every Saturday or whenever I see a shoe that I want, yeah, I still go and I make an attempt to get it at retail. And if I can't, I'm like, oh, okay. I just make a mental note. If I go to the outlet or if I see these somewhere on sale for a decent price, okay, cool. I'll snatch them up then. But it's not a need. That's the thing we need to realize as consumers, that sneakers are a want, not a need. Because when you operate with the mindset that this is a want, it's easier to walk away. But when you act like you need this, like you have to have it, right? That's when it becomes a problem. That's when you're willing to pay resale prices because there's a need in your mind. I need these. Why? But then you gotta ask yourself why. And then once you realize that you can't answer that question, then you realize it's a want and not a need. But anyway, um, Kryptonite Soul says if you can't get it from retail, you run to the risk of the sneaker being fake. I've been to resale shops that buy sneakers without properly checking for authentication. That's another thing too. That's another thing too, and that's something else. I'm glad he pointed that out. You can't trust all these resale shops because even let's just say it was an innocent mistake. You don't think that once they realize that it's a fake, what you think they're gonna throw it in the trash? You think they're gonna eat that loss? No, they're gonna pass it on to you because you don't know no better. Because you going in assuming like, hey, this store, and it could be a reputable store. You know, they're gonna use their reputation to cover the fact that they just sold you a fake because their reputation is gonna speak for them. So if they're known for selling, you know, authentics, and they say you a fake, and you come out and say, hey, no, they sell me a fake. Now, if you're able to prove it and you're able to, produce some receipts, then that's a whole different story. But once again, that's a whole lot of work that you got to do over a pair of shoes. And as I told y'all yesterday, I'm just done. I'm done working for free. Like I did my 40 plus hours of, of work. You know, that was the work I'm putting in as far as these sneakers are concerned. I'm working to earn the money to purchase these shoes. I'm not doing anything above that. Where are we at? Kryptonite Soul says my trust in resale shops have declined drastically. Me too. Gigantor 38, he agrees with him. There's no vetting process in resale shops, not even the classic blacklight check. Yeah, I think a lot of these resale shops too have become overly dependent on StockX and GOAT and even eBay sneakers. And, it's funny because eBay sneakers, I don't know what they thought. They posted that video of the young lady authenticating a shoe, and I'm not saying she didn't do a good job of authenticating. I'm just saying it didn't do anything. If you had concerns before watching that video, I don't think that video did anything to alleviate those concerns. If you had questions before you watched that video, I don't think that video did anything to answer those questions. So what was the point? You know what I'm saying? Like I just, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just felt like you did more. If anything, I just feel like you just kind of gave people more ammo. Like if they don't like you, or if they question what you did, or if they question your authentication process, they can just take that video and run with it. So I don't think you really did anything to help PR wise. That's why I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. Now I will say this: I do like how they have the live authentication at SneakerCon because you're physically there, right? So you can sit there and watch them, and you can ask them questions like, "Hey, what are you looking for? What's going on?" And or show me what you're looking for. Or show me what makes you think this is authentic, or show me what you think makes this not authentic, right? So there's more of a direct engagement there as opposed to just a video, right? And so I do appreciate that. I just don't think the video did anything for anyone. Um, Kryptonite Souls. Trophy Room 1's prime example. Love the shoe, but I can't buy in good faith knowing that there are a lot of fakes in the wild that look real. A sneaker I probably will never own because of that. I'm gonna be real with you, and somebody gonna have to answer this for me. What is the hype around trophy room runs other than being super limited? Because to me, it's just riding. It's just piggybacking on a Chicago one. It's a frosted flake Chicago one. He just took a Chicago one and dipped it in the frosting and was like, all right, here. He was frozen out in the All Star game. Here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't do nothing for me. Like, I already explained yesterday my standard for collaborations, and I get he's Michael Jordan's son, so he didn't necessarily, let's just say he didn't earn his way into that room of collaborators, Once again, if I'm Michael Jordan and, I have a son, like, I wouldn't say I wouldn't do the same thing. But I would acknowledge the nepotism involved. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would at least I would own it. Like, that's my son. What would you do? You know? All I'm saying is that just because you're Michael Jordan's son doesn't necessarily make you a designer. That isn't inherent with being Michael Jordan's son or even having good ideas. Like, you're Michael Jordan's son. Like, okay. You don't need to have good ideas. You're Michael Jordan's son. You're set. You're set before you're even born. You're good. So everything is just icing on the cake. You guys are really engaged. I love it. I never buy a pair of trophy room ones or ones in general. Ones and 350 V2s have been perfected by replicators and bootleggers. Dunks too. Okay. All right. Giganta 38 says wearing StockX tags are a broke boy move for sure. Never, all in caps, was cool. Uh, yeah, plus I gotta agree with Kryptonite Souls on this one too. StockX tag doesn't improve authenticity. I agree with you 100% on that one too. Cause I feel like StockX more than I guess more than Goat or eBay sneakers, they seem to get dinged a lot, at least within the sneaker community, as far as fakes getting through. And so I don't know if that tag has the wanted effect that they wanted it to have. Because if you're the least trusted authentication platform when it comes to sneakers, then what does that tag really mean? Like it doesn't make me feel any more comfortable if I didn't have the tag. Go doesn't even have a tag. I think eBay, for whatever reason, like eBay's trying so hard to be StockX. The funny thing about eBay is they had a chance to invest or even buy StockX when Josh was going around pitching the idea and they passed on it. So basically, I don't know if you guys know about Coca-Cola and Pepsi, but Coca-Cola obviously was a brand. It was like one of the first colas out there. And so somewhere in the 1800s, I believe, I might be wrong, but early on, they had an opportunity to buy this small startup cola company called Pepsi. It was small, real small. And Coca-Cola just was like, we don't need it. We ain't got to. Passed on it. Fast forward to current day, it's their biggest competitor. And that's essentially what happened with eBay. eBay passed on StockX, and what happened? StockX became this big old entity, right? $1 billion company. Now eBay is trying to compete with StockX. They're trying to authenticate. Like eBay's been around since damn near the internet, and at no point in time did they ever have the idea to authenticate until StockX came around. Now they get the little eBay tags that they put on shoes. They just they're StockX and then there's StockX Junior, which is sad because you were the predecessor. But now they trying to play catch up because they passed on a good thing, and that once. Oh man, I'm going down a whole bunch of rabbit holes that I didn't mean to go down. But this is my whole argument about brands and how they don't invest in new ideas. They wait for smaller companies to develop new ideas, watch them make it viable, and then they buy them out. That's usually how it works. Like, think about the whole NFT thing. Nike ain't create no in-house NFT thing. They just bought Artifact. That's what they do. They just buy out other people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how they go about doing it. So, yeah. Let's get through these comments. To be honest, Nike dropping trainer ones, SC trainer highs, BW, Zoom flights, and upcoming pennies. I'm good on all the hype and will cop these classics. I'm with you on that. See, Gigantic gets it, man. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the shoes I'll be going after too. Y'all can have all these collaborations and sneakers of the year bullshits. I'm going after the shoes he just mentioned. Like, I love SE trainers. Probably one of my favorite shoes. Zoom flights, pennies, man, pennies for sure. Pennies are definitely my go-tos. I love penny. Like, I for the longest time, I swore Penny had the second best signature line outside of Jordan. But at some point, I had to give it to LeBron just because of like longevity. Like, you can't, dude got like 19 models, and I ain't even counting like the sub models, like the soldiers and stuff like that. So at some point, you had to like give it to LeBron. But like, Penny's line was flawless. Like, I think his weakest shoe was the 5, and that was still pretty dope, depending on the colorway. And I wish they continued it. Honestly, I wish they continued it. Like, they continued Jordans, why they can't continue Pennies? Like, yeah, man, Penny had the dopest line. I swear to you. Babs, the eBay sneakers ad was so bad. Yeah, man, I remember watching it and being like, okay, who was this for? like, 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 this does nothing for nobody. I can imagine. See, that's the thing though. When you got non-sneaker people making sneaker decisions, you get shit like that. Authentication is the biggest myth in the industry, to some degree. I think it was a good idea. I just think in principle is a good idea. It just, or in theory was a good idea, but when you actually think about the ins and outs, like, think about how much volume they get. There's only so much time in the day. Not to mention, you have humans authenticate. Like, humans make mistakes. Humans get tired. So, I don't know what type of shift they work, but let's just say 8 hours, right? Yeah, you might be authenticating the hell out of those shoes in the first half of your shift. That second half, though, getting tired. You're looking at your watch, looking at the clock, ready to go home. And allegedly, I can't say for sure. I remember we had that interview with Josh Luber a couple years ago, and I asked him directly, even though I've heard from many people who've worked there, that there is for sure a quota system at StockX, but I don't know for sure, so I can't say. So that's why I got to say allegedly, because Josh Luber got more lawyer money than I do. Well, he's no longer there, so who cares? Okay, so but I asked him directly if they had a quota system. He said no, but like I said, I hear from everybody else who's worked there. They say it is. Do with that as you will. So yeah, so for the sake of argument though, let's just say hypothetically there is a quota system. So now it's more about getting through your quota than actually the focus is on your quota than it is on the authentication. I got to get through X amount of shoes. So let's just say near the end of your shift, you 50 pairs short of your quota. You don't think you're going to breeze through those next 50 shoes just so you can meet your quota? I'm just saying, something to consider. Now, Gigantor, we're going to argue about this. He said the weakest penny was the 6. I disagree vehemently with that. Now, I will say, colorways do make a difference. And so what I would say is you take the best colorway of the penny 5, you take the best colorway of the penny 6, the penny 6 wins. That's all I'm saying. Babs, god damn it, not you two. Not you two. Penny's weakest shoe is the 5, man. But here's the thing, though, and I'm saying weak is only in comparison to the other shoes. Overall, I like both the 5 and the 6. So, I mean, every shoe was dope. I'm just saying, like, I'm just pointing that out. Like, if his weakest shoe is either the 5 or the 6, he's still killing on a lot of signature lines. You know, like he's for sure killing Paul George's line. It's the only dope shoe he had was the PlayStation collaborations. To me, nah, unless Gigantor or Baz want to team up and disagree with me on that one too. You know, he said I'm tripping, big brother. Oh man, no, I didn't say the 5s didn't have fire colorways. I just said take the best colorway of the 5 and the best colorway of the 6, which the best colorway of the 6 was the one that came in that pack, the Orlando colors. Now I will agree that those copper 6s were yeah, those red 6s were yeah, so I agree. But I'm just saying you take the best colorway of the 5s, which I believe was what their Orlando colorway, which shocker, right? And you take the Orlando colorway of the 6. I thought the 6 looked better. Yeah, I didn't like the Vote colorway. Yeah, I didn't like the Vote colorway of those penny 5s. I just nah. And I grew to like that Miami colorway. Um, so in other news though, this is something that this has kind of been a subject the last couple years, and we've read some stories where people getting their stuff stolen by people by the delivery guy. Like I want to say this was like 3-4 years ago. I remember we read a story about um, a, I don't know if it was a UPS truck or a FedEx truck, but pulled up in front of the house as if it was going to deliver the shoe and then pull right off. Didn't even get out of his truck. But when he went to go check his tracking, it said delivered. So that's the thing. Like these trucks have GPS tracking, and so it'll show them being in front of your house, like at your location, and the companies will use that and say, "Hey, well, look, he's in front of your house. He had to deliver it." But just because the truck shows that it's in front of my house doesn't mean that the person got out of the truck and walked the package to my porch. Like there's a difference. And so yeah. Oh, and the penny 5s were uncomfortable as hell. So that's probably why I give see once again the 6s win. I win. But no, but anyway, there are more complaints about shipping company LaserShip, which includes sneakers now. LaserShip. So Nike recently, I'll say within the last year, has switched from FedEx to LaserShip, and yeah, and I always put LaserShip and DHL in the same category because it felt like that's what, like if you like it felt like if you bought a fake, it was being shipped between one of them two. And so I guess I just had this thing where I just correlated fakes with those two shipping companies. And so I always kind of had an issue with them. And yeah. But anyway, an article written by Jason Stugenke for WSOCTV.com. Recently, Action 9 News investigated LaserShip. I think Action 9 News is in Charlotte, North Carolina, I believe. They investigated LaserShip after thousands of customers across the country complained about not receiving the packages despite the orders being tracked to the company's warehouse. Now, more people are saying LaserShip never delivered their orders. Two of those customers are Hector Alvarez, I'm sorry, and Gina Taylor. Both of them order Air Jordans from Nike, which uses LaserShip. They said that the tracking showed the shoes made it to LaserShip's local warehouse, but no further. Several other customers said they had similar experiences. One customer said that they've complained to Nike and filed a claim with the Better Business Bureau. Another customer said that they even filed a police report. And that's key, too. I remember I had a situation with FedEx where they said to deliver the shoe. Now, what they didn't know is that there's a camera facing the direction of my porch. And so um, once I made that known, all of a sudden, you know, and then I was on the phone with the rep, and I was like, "Yo, I'm about to file a police report and all this other stuff." Then, somehow, some way, by some type of miracle, I got my shoe. It's funny how that works. So sometimes you got to go there, like especially. I mean, like I said, you spending $200 just to have somebody rip you off. Nah, not today. Anyway, apparently it isn't just limited to sneakers. Megan Cottage said that she never had a problem ordering beauty and fitness products from a certain vendor until they switched to laser ship. She said, every day I would go and check and it would be out for delivery and then back at the warehouse because there was an issue. And there was never a resolution. This went on for 9 days. And then one day, Megan got a notification saying that the delivery couldn't be completed and that they were going to discard her package. Now, how the hell can you discard somebody's package that they paid for? Like, there should be like some type of lost and found or something that you are required to hold this package in for longer than, what was it, 9 days? For longer than 9 days. Like, it should be like some type of area that, like, a couple months that, like, if for whatever reason this package cannot be delivered. Now, I don't know what the issue was. I don't know the specifics. They don't say what the specific reason as to why they couldn't deliver the package. Now, if this woman never had an issue with any other carrier until she got a laser ship, then you got to assume it's a laser ship problem, not a Megan problem. So, and I mean, then you're not going to tell me you're going to discard my package. I'm going to the laser ship warehouse myself. I'm I'm walking through that building like I own it. Like I will go through every bin looking for my package. We are going to have a problem. Action 9 News is going to be there for a whole different reason. Anyway, despite the complaints, LaserShip still maintains an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. This despite receiving more than 2,300 complaints over the last 3 years, and more than half of the complaints are from the last 12 months. Wow. For comparison, Amazon has about 9,000 complaints in the last year, but they didn't all involve delivery. Well, I mean, if you heard anything about Amazon, I can imagine what those complaints were about. FedEx received about 6,000 complaints, and UPS had about 2,200 complaints. The Better Business Bureau doesn't track complaints against government agencies like the United States Postal Service. Go figure. LaserShip did address the complaints in a general comment, which read, "Our top priority is and always has been our customers, and we share their frustration with delayed packages." No, you don't. Shut up. Our team is working hard to ensure packages move through our network as quickly and securely as possible. Okay, once again, shut up. Like I don't want to. Nobody want to hear that. Find my package. That's what I want. I don't want to hear this talking about we sharing our frustration. Or really, because you out of money. You out of money for my package. You got your money. Like I paid for the shipping. Talking about we share our frustration. No, you don't share my frustration. Talking that mess. Let's see what the Kryptonite Soul said. I've had a few pairs that said delivered, but I never touch. Hate when that happens, especially when my wins or sneakers are very inconsistent. Hell yeah. Like the one win I got in the sneakers app, paid $200+ for, and some delivery guy from LaserShip gonna come up on me. You ain't about to Benjamin Kicks my package, bro. You gonna nah, nope, not today. No. Babs and Kicks, how about Jumpman getting chased by the dogs while delivering? Yo, that video was wild. I saw that. He a good one for posting that. That would never see the light of day if that was me. Ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nah. You ain't gonna see that. Gigantor 38, my UPS driver and I are cool. He knows that I know I'm getting some shoes. Plus, he's like 5 foot. He don't want this work from me. I'm with you on that. It's funny you said that because I got a good relationship with my UPS driver as well. Like he knows like if he rings the doorbell and I don't answer, he don't even deliver it. Like he'll leave it in his truck and then come back until he knows I'm there, and then or he'll deliver it the next day. Like he knows. Yeah, it's funny how that works though. Like you get enough packages, you just kind of develop a rapport with the delivery guy. Um, yeah. Action 9 News sounds like a company that demands pictures of Spider Man. They don't- You call them the Daily Bugle? Uh, man, yeah, no. Laser Ship and Benjamin Kicks, they got a collab coming out called the Untouchables pack. Um, but yeah, so it's yeah, that's been an issue though, as far as delivering packages and whatnot, and mm-mm, you're not gonna get me on mine. And I leave a note now too, where it's just like, yo, like if I'm not home, don't even leave it. Like, first of all, and I'm glad Nike stopped doing this because the last few packages it doesn't have the Nike tape on there, which I thought was the dumbest shit ever. Why would you brand the tape, bruh? Like, we don't need. Like, first of all, it's already hard out in these streets as it is. Why would you put a swoosh or a branded swoosh tape on these packages, right? They don't need to know what's in here. Like you see that Nike logo on the tape, you know it's got to be. You might not know, but you can assume, right, that there's something valuable in there because we talking about sneakers, right? Like for all the person knows, it could be a pair of 270s, but it also could be a pair of off white. Either way, they're gonna take the chance to at least snatch it out the porch and see what's inside. Now, if it's something whack, they might throw it in the trash and they might even bring it back and leave it on your porch. But if it's something valuable, you're never gonna see that package ever again. And I don't know why Nike even thought that was a good idea. Like let's brand the tape. Let's put the tape on. Who are you trying to market to? I already bought the shoes. The shoes are already purchased. So you're not trying to market to me. You just marketing in everybody else in the neighborhood. Like, hey, there's something valuable on that person's porch. Go check it out. That's what you're doing. Like I never understood the rationale. And even when I asked people, it was just nobody really had an answer. And that's how you know they full of shit. It's like, okay, y'all don't even have an answer for this. So y'all know this is ridiculous. This is reckless, right? But once again, they don't care. They got your money, and now you got to go through the legwork of proving that you didn't get the shoe, filing a report with the company, the shipping company, filing a police report, doing all that good stuff. It just ain't worth it. So this van situation. Now I remember when I first saw the wavy shoes, I knew this was going to be an issue. Like instant lawsuit. I'm looking at this like, dude, like there's no way he doesn't get sued or get a cease and desist. There's just no way. And sure as shit, that's exactly what happened. We live in a day now. We talking about UAs earlier, and how that's become a thing. These knockoffs, man, woo. Once again, they're not even trying to hide that no more. It's just like, yeah, I made a knockoff. So what? You know what I'm saying? That's their attitude. Like everybody's from Brooklyn all of a sudden. Like, yeah, I did it. So what? And it's just like, geez, like word. All right, well, you got Mischief making this shoe. You got, Kai and Ami, making knockoff ones, and you got John Geiger doing whatever the hell he thinks he's doing. Like this dude, man, I'm telling you, bro, when he actually had the audacity, this dude fixed his mouth to say that he made Air Force Ones cool. My G, this is what I told folks. There's a reason why people like him don't make Reebok Club C's. There's a reason why they don't make knockoff Club C's because the goal is, or the whole point is to take popular shoes so that it is close enough to those shoes to where their shit sells. That's why they make knockoff Jordan 1s and Air Force Ones. It's about taking already popular models to create some type of launching pad for your knockoff version, right? People don't knock up like You don't make bootlegs of bad movies. You make bootlegs of good movies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how this shit works. Like, it's just like it don't make no sense. And like for him to fix his mouth talking about he made Air Force Ones popular, like man, see that's once again that's when the hype is a drug, man. And once you get high on that drug for so long, you lose your mind. You lose your God given sense, man. That was just crack talk. I'm actually starting to think that he actually doing real drugs, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? Like for you to fix your mouth to say that out loud on Twitter, yeah, or wherever he said it at. I'm like, dog, like you serious? And one more thing too, before I get into this Vans lawsuit, as far as designers are concerned, if you're not designing anything, quit calling yourself a designer. You design the logo, the one thing you had to change to avoid uh, catching a case or getting a lawsuit. That's the only thing you changed. Think about it. Like John Geiger, he makes Air Force One. He has his, what it was supposed to be his initials or something. Kai, when he first came out, it was a straight up knockoff. And then once he caught wind of, he could be next after they got rid of, after they got done with Warren Lotus, he did make some other changes, you know, to his knockoff one to make it slightly more different, but it's still, I mean, let's be honest, it's still the same thing, right? So, yeah, so it just, to me, it just, these guys are just getting off. They calling themselves designers. No, you come up with different colorways, and if that makes you a designer, then that makes everybody that made a Nike ID a designer. If you've ever made a Nike ID, you're a designer too. You are on John Geiger's level of design. You have went to John Geiger's School of Design. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just let's cut the bullshit, man. Like seriously, seriously. Like this is why I respect people like Mosh. Like Mosh ain't got to worry about people calling his a knockoff version of anything because it's an original. It's unique. It's Mosh. When you see a Mosh shoe, the first thing you think of is Mosh. When I see a cool Kai shoe, the first thing I think of is a Jordan 1. When I see a John Geiger shoe, the first thing I think of is an Air Force 1. That's the first thing you think of. When I see a Mosh shoe, it's like, oh, that's Mosh. I don't think of any other shoe because Mosh, he's a designer. That's what he does. Like, yeah, he's done customs and stuff before, but when it came to coming out with his own shoe, he came out with his own shoe, and you gotta respect that. So yeah, I that's why I don't have respect for these other guys. I knew Baz was like that. I hated Untouchables. I hated working at Nike during the rollout of the branded tape. Homies would be hitting me up personally like I was doing it. Fun fact: package thefts would increase early in the week because thieves would calculate standard shipping times on Saturday when big releases will happen. The amount of ingenuity that I'm telling you, when people are really, really committed to committing a crime, the amount of ingenuity they put into it. Like dudes out here doing the math on the shipping dates. Like how many miles they could travel in the day. Like, dog, like that is ridiculous. This is why I can be a criminal. Like I just told you, I'm not trying to work for free. Like the payoff, there's too much risk in the payoff. Like one, there's a chance of us getting caught. Two, there's a chance that we steal this package and there's nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's too many variables for me to commit to being a full time criminal or even a part time criminal. Because I just feel like if you're gonna be a criminal, you might as well go big or go home, right? Like make it worth it, right? If I'm a criminal, like I'm doing, like if I'm gonna steal something sizable, and like I mean, dudes, you about to go to jail for what, $1,000? Like I knew a guy, well, I didn't know a guy, I heard of a guy when I first got in at Chrysler. He used to steal. So we got these welding robots, and they have like copper tips, and copper is like the poor man's gold. You can take them back to the scrap yards, and depending on the year, you can get a nice chunk of change for some copper. I remember at one point This was years ago. I want to say it's like 2008 ish. This going like copper was like $4 a pound if you took it back to the scrapyard. Yeah, he was getting some nice money. Anyway, uh, good job. Worked at Chrysler, 6 figures. Dudes out here stealing the copper tips off the robots. And those copper tips, they hollow and stuff, and I mean, there's only so many you can carry at once. So even if he did stockpile enough to take some to the scrap yard, they didn't weigh that much. So at most, he's probably getting what, a couple $100 here and there. Got caught. Didn't get fired at first. I'm pretty sure he got some type of suspension. And they told him like, "Yo, do it again. You out of here." And what happens? Dumbass goes out there and does it again. Lost his job. Lost a 6-figure job for a couple $100. Like, makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, man. So, like, for me, if I'm going to be a criminal, it's going to have to be worth it, man, because there's a chance you might get caught. So if I'm going to get caught, I want to at least go to jail knowing, hey, yo, that was worth it. And to me, there's nothing out there really right now that's worth it. So this is why I'm doing this radio show. Anyway, Mischief hired new retainers and legal team members. I think they look forward to the lawsuits. They look forward to the lawsuits because it's marketing for them. This is marketing for them. Like this, because damn near every time you heard about Mischief, it probably has something in the last couple of years. It's some type of lawsuit, and so this is free publicity for them. And I think even the article touched on that. Like that's part of the plan is to create product that he knows he's going to get sued for, and it's going to be news, and now it brings attention to his brand. Now, the problem is I think he might be setting himself up for failure, and I'll get into that as I get into the article, but he might be undermining himself or themselves because it isn't just one guy. Nike, part of the problem, the branding on the box is just inviting thievery. People are so out of the tune with sneakers that all they see is resale. It's really a dark age for buying sneakers. I 100% agree. Gigantor says Geiger a freaking goofy. Get him out of here. He's from Brooklyn. Gigantor is from Brooklyn. He says Mosh equals designer. Devlin equals designer. Kai equals customizer. At most. Kryptonite Souls, more sneakers are accessible for a price you can't trust. Yet you can't trust is your shoe even authentic unless it's directly from the brand itself. Website crashing during release. Yeah. The wavy sneakers belong on a shelf that definitely don't look wearable. Try running down some stairs in them. Yeah. If you're trying to run away from a situation or down some stairs, you might as well just make peace. Just make peace with your fate, man. That's all you can do. Just make peace with your fate, because those shoes, yeah. Them shoes plus some stairs, yeah. Just make peace, bro. Hopefully your affairs are in order so your family don't have to work too hard after the fact. But yeah. Too many clout chasing criminals. This is from Jesse Christ. Gigantor. Once he got caught and managed to not get fired, he should have kissed those copper tips. His boss. Oh, wow. I agree with you. Babs and Kicks. She says she agrees. She feels the same way with somebody. You can get the same time for a sticker as you can a huge piece. Might as well cover the wall. Man, all I'm saying is if you're going to commit a crime, make it worth it. Anyway, let's get to Vans. Vans is suing Mischief over his viral wavy baby sneakers. An article written for the Fashion Law. After just settling the trademark lawsuit from Nike a little over a year ago, Mischief has landed on the receiving end of a new lawsuit from Vans. According to a 57 pages, man. Sheesh. 57-page campaign to piggyback on 57-page filing, Vans and his parent company, VF Corp, alleged that in spite of, or perhaps due to, his knowledge of Vans' rights and the substantial value of Vans' trademarks and trade dress, Mischief embarked on a campaign to piggyback on Vans' rights and the goodwill they have developed in his iconic shoes by offering up a shoe of his own that blatantly and unmistakably incorporates Vans' trademark and trade dress. Basically, Vans claims that Mischief's wavy baby sneakers is willfully infringing on their trademark and trade dress rights to the 40-year-old old school shoe, which includes the side stripe trademark. Excuse me. Vans also maintains trademark rights in and registrations for other unique aspects of the old school, which includes its distinctive stitching pattern, its signature waffle sole, and the placement design of the heel tab. And I think also they mentioned the logo too. You know that the Vans logo, the red square logo. Vans also asserts that they have protectable rights in the distinctive shoe boxes, namely the unique red and brown shoebox, which they adopted in June of 2014. Vans alleges that Mischief has sought to skip the significant investments required to develop original, authentic, and high quality shoes, and instead chose to free ride off of Vans's reputation and popularity. Burn. Like, that was a nice way to cut somebody out. Basically, they saying he ain't got the talent, so he had to jock our shit. He had to jock our style. He had to copy us. He couldn't make his own stuff, so he had to knock off ours. That's basically what they just said in that last sentence. They go on to say that Mischief and rapper Tyga have aggressively marketed the Wavy Baby shoe in order to intentionally confuse consumers as to the sneaker's source or to suggest that they sponsored or otherwise approved of the infringement. Despite attempts to settle the matter out of court, including sending a cease and desist letter to Tyga, who was not named as a defendant in the case, and Mischief, Vans claims that they have been unable to agree on an appropriate resolution. Mischief co-founder Daniel Greenberg responded by saying that Vans reached out ahead of the suit in an attempt to proactively settle, seeking half the profits, and also, and this was interesting, 4 pairs of the Wavy Babies for themselves. That was interesting, if that's true. I, I did find that interesting. Daniel seems to be utilizing a commentary-centric defense, citing that sneaker companies are in a constant cycle of riffing each other, and that his shoe, the Wavy Baby, is a complete distortion of an entire object that is itself a symbol. Okay, that was just a bunch of word salad to kind of get you to not think about anything significant or specific as to a defense of his. However, this whole notion, or let's go back to the first part of that, where he basically called out companies are always copying each other. Yes, and then they are also getting sued. They're getting sued too. There's Nike suing Adidas. Adidas is suing Tom. Damn, I can't remember his last name, but you know, yes, companies do rip each other off, and then they get sued. Like, that's how that works. You know, nobody's saying that stealing doesn't happen. What they're saying is accountability needs to follow up when you find out somebody stole something. That's like me going to court and being like, the judge being like, did you steal that person's shoes off their porch? And I'm like, well, judge, people steal all the time. I'm not the first person to steal a package. The judge is going to be like, oh, you're right. People steal all the time. We can't, well, you know what? Since people steal all the time, it's not fair to you that we hold you accountable. Not guilty. Like, that's not how that shit works. Just because other people steal does not make you less responsible for stealing. If you get caught, you got to deal with the repercussions, lawsuit or otherwise. So that's why I hate this argument. Like, well, other people steal or other people do it. Like, so okay, so because other people do it, that means what? That you're not supposed to be held accountable? That's the dumbest logic I've ever heard in my life. This is why I become more and more cynical the longer I involve myself in the sneaker community, because of stuff like this. because people say stuff. You know the problem is people say stuff that sounds good, right? And the thing about sounding good and being good is two different things. Like they say stuff that sounds good to your ear. The thing is, it also has to make sense in my brain, right? And so, and then once you start thinking about the logic and the rationale, you start to realize that as good as it sounded, it doesn't make that much sense. Anyway, and so this next part, I alluded earlier about how somebody mentioned, I forgot who in the chat, they mentioned that he has a new team of lawyers, and I guess he's gonna try to fight back. Warren Lotus did the same shit. See how that worked out for him. Um, but I think this next part is what is going to undermine his defense. Okay. Additionally, Daniel claims that the Wavy Baby is transformational above and beyond anything Vans would ever attempt. Now, while that might be true, he didn't need to say that. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause, I mean, and once again, that doesn't justify you doing it. Once again, that would be like Kai saying, well, Jordan Brand would never drop this colorway. Okay, that may be true, but that doesn't mean that you didn't rip off the Jordan 1. Once again, like it just kind of feels like they try to throw out these nuggets of distraction. Like let's argue about whether or not they will ever come out with the shoe versus did I steal their shoe? You know what I'm saying? Like, did I infringe on a trademark? Well, nah. We could argue that, but let's talk about whether or not they will actually come up with this idea. That's irrelevant. That's completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether or not Vans will ever make a shoe like the Wavy Baby. What matters is, did you infringe on their trademark and their trade dress? And I think most of us have eyes, and we can clearly say yes. But you never know. In a court of law, you get a good enough lawyer who can bend how you look at a certain law. He's there. He or she is a good litigator. You never know. Anyway, now it should be noted that Mischief just announced that they will launch their own sneaker brand. This part is what I think undermines their whole argument, because so far the whole argument is their shoe is artistic and is transformational, and all of these artsy fartsy ways that they want people to look at their shoe. But if you're starting your own sneaker brand, it now becomes commercial. It's no longer just artistic expression. Now you're trying to create a brand and a company to sell product, and if that product is an infringement of other product, then you can't continue to use the whole art argument when you are actively trying to create a company that's social. Like if you were just making a shoe like a one of one, or maybe like a friends and family thing where you make like 30 pairs and you give them out to friends and other celebrities and stuff like that. That could be something different. But when you make a shoe that you mean to sell and then build a brand around, that's a problem. Um, Let me see. Where am I at? What makes this interesting is that this move seems to undermine the defense that they invoked in their Satan Air Max 97 case, that their sneakers fall more within the realm of an artistic and expressive project than the world of purely commercial footwear. Once again, if you're talking about starting your own brand, now you are in the world of commercial footwear. It is no longer just within the realm of artistic and expressive uh, artistry or whatever you want to call it. It's no longer just that, because now you're trying to build a company off of selling this product, commercial footwear. So yeah, so this is the dual argument he's made, or at least he made one argument when he had the Air Max 97 case, and now he's making a whole nother argument. And I just don't think you got a good case if you're making two arguments at the same time. I just feel like it's going to fall flat in court. Vans is also facing off against Walmart for basically doing the same thing. They've landed a win in the latest round with Walmart, with Judge David Carter granting Vans' motion for a preliminary injunction. So once again, it just goes to show you, like, Vans, once again, when companies, yeah, true enough, people do steal within the fashion industry, footwear industry, which is a part of the fashion industry. People do that, and they get sued, i.e., Vans suing Walmart. You know what I'm saying? So they're not just coming after you, Mischief. They're coming after anybody that's, stealing their shit. So if they're suing Walmart, you got to figure they're going to sue you. Um, where we at? The Wavy comes with the warning label. If it needs all of that, I don't need them. Oh, wow. Does it? I didn't know that. Shout out to Jesse Christ for that information. Gigantor, the Mischief thing is interesting because I heard they were originally wanted to collab. Then have you seen the collab with Imran Potato? They look like a weird Mischief inspired collab. It's all very interesting. No, I haven't. I did not see that collab. I never even heard of that person before. Um, so yeah. Here's the thing, though, and this is okay. So we've had this conversation before on the show too, where, and I'll acknowledge that these. So, uh, I don't know exactly when you can pinpoint the rise of the customizers, but when customizing was like a real big thing, when it was like really at its peak, the brands saw what they were doing, and I think we can all agree that they stole some of those ideas, right? Like, I remember the camo print foam posits. I remember first time I saw them was a customizer, and then a year or two later, Nike came out with the camo foam posit and the fighter jet foam posit, and we all knew where they got that from. I know, off the top of my head, the most recent example is the Air Jordan 6. I remember Dev, from Saya Collective. He had years ago made like a 3M6, Air Jordan 6. And then a couple years ago, with a Jordan brand do, they came out with a 3M6. So I know, we all know that they see this, and that gives them inspiration or ideas to come out with their own product. And to a degree, I do feel like, that is kind of messed up. Like, morally speaking, that's kind of messed up. You're piggybacking off of other people's creativity. Legally, though, when you customize another shoe, you have no ownership of that. You can't trademark an idea. You can't trademark the custom because you're using somebody else's trademark to make the custom. So while morally it's messed up for Nike to take Dev's idea, or for them to take whoever's idea it was to come up with a camo foam posit, it's messed up, and I agree. And I'll knock Nike forever for that. At the same time, it's their product. So yeah, you might have created a dope custom, but you kind of unprotected, because legally there's nothing you can really do about it, if you get what I'm saying. So going back to the comment that was made about, making a Mischief inspired collaboration with whoever it was that they said it was, we can agree that it might look like a Mischief inspiration, but at the end of the day, it's their product. And so they can make all the Mischief looking Van sneakers that they want to, because Mischief doesn't have a trademark on any of his customs, for the lack of a better word, because he's using other trademark sneakers to create his customs, so he doesn't own them. So Mischief is kind of putting himself in the box, and other customizers, when they do that, because you're basically giving them free ideas. When you post it, the brands are going to come across it at some point, especially if it's popular enough. And you're basically giving those brands free ideas to just take whatever you created and put it on their shoe and make money off of it. There's nothing you can really do about it legally, because if I take a Jordan I have and I come up with a custom, and Nike comes out with that same shoe 2 years later, I can't take it to court with that. What's the basis? What's the, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it gets dicey. Um, Gigantor 38. It kind of reminds me of YouTube. You can claim the video to get profits from it, or you can strike it to completely remove it. Van should have stuck with getting some of the moolah and riding the hype. It depends. It depends. It depends if there was like a mutual benefit. Now, I will agree. I think they could have, and I think that was the point, though. If we are to believe Mischief when he says that they reached out, well, Vans already said that they tried to reach out. So both of them are saying the same thing as far as that's concerned. They reached out to try to work out something. Mischief or Daniel goes on to say that they asked for 4 pairs of the shoe. So it does seem like there was an attempt to do something together. Now he's saying that they wanted half the profits, so maybe that was the sticking point, right? Obviously, that was the sticking point. You're talking about money, right? Nobody wants to give up half. Not even a marriage they want to give up half. So he wasn't trying to give up half. Like you can be married to somebody for years, and you could have provided for them, and she could have had your children, and when it's done, nobody wants to give up half, and that's somebody you had a family with. So imagine a company saying I won't have, for damn sure not getting it, or at least not easily. So, um, but I agree with you. I do think there was a way to kind of ride the hype together. I do think they could have both sides could have benefited had they found some common ground to work together on this. Kryptonite Souls, other people do it, sounds real childish. Imagine being a grown adult getting caught doing something wrong, then respond with other people do it. Thank you, Kryptonite. I never got that defense. I never understood when people threw that around. Because what you're saying is, yeah. So essentially, what you're saying is, yeah, it's wrong, but other people do wrong things, so and they get away with it, so I should get away with it too. So if that's your argument, then when do we ever hold anybody accountable? Because at some point somebody's stolen something. At some point somebody's murdered somebody. At some point, every law has been broken. And if you can find somebody or pinpoint somebody who's broken that law and gotten away with it, and use that as a justification to also get away with that same crime, then when do we ever hold anybody accountable? You, it's, this is why I hate sometimes. Once again, people say things that sound good, but then when you think about it, it logically falls apart, and that's what I get frustrated the most. Because a lot of people co-sign what sounds good, like Benjamin Kicks. There were people co-signing him, and I'm like, but when you think about it, you know what I'm saying? Like when you think about it, you know. Gigantor. One thing that'll help Mischief is the warning label on the sole. Vans want to make a product that can intentionally negatively impact a person's safety while wearing them. That's a big point for Mischief. I don't know if that'll be a big point though. I really don't. I don't know if that'll be enough to point out the difference. See, here's the thing: the differences have to outweigh the similarities, and I don't know if there's enough differences. I think there's more similarities than differences, and that's the uphill battle he has to fight. You know, so just pointing out one aspect of the shoe that's different. That's like Vanilla Ice, right? I always point out Vanilla Ice because anybody that knows anything about that story is Ice Ice Baby. That was a huge hit for Vanilla Ice. He took the sample for that song came from Under Pressure by David Bowie, right? And it's literally the same exact beat, except it has one extra drum kick in there. Somewhere in that sample, they added a drum kick, right? And Vanilla Ice was willing to die on that hill where he swore that extra drum kick, that one difference made it an entirely different song. I mean, he lost. You know what I'm saying? Like once again, the differences have to outweigh the similarity. That one drum kick doesn't outweigh every other instrument involved in that song that sounds exactly the same to Under Pressure. That's just so Gigantor, it'd be a point in conjunction with the argument that it's a transformative art piece, hence the way have it marketed as a footwear piece. Yeah, but the problem is he's selling the shoe and he's trying to start a brand. He's trying to start his own shoe brand. So because of that, I don't know. Uh, that's where I feel like it's going to undermine his argument because you can't have it both ways. You can't say, okay, this is an artistic piece, but at the same time, I'm starting a shoe company. Buy this shoe. You know what I'm saying? Like both of those, they they don't jive with each other. They're two different arguments, and that's why I said I don't think he's gonna. I think he's ultimately gonna lose because you can't say it's transformative in its artistic expression and then use it as a vehicle to start your sneaker brand. You know what I'm saying? It's just, yeah, you know, that's where I feel like it falls apart. Now, if he kept it strictly as a artistic expressive project, okay, fine. But even with that, like once you sell it for a profit, that's where it becomes a problem because now that's commercial. No matter how limited it is, that's commercial. And so, yeah, there's a lot of muddy water there. So I'm not even gonna sit here and act like I'm a lawyer and I know the ins and outs of the laws. I just know what makes sense to me, and what little of the law I do know, it doesn't necessarily line up with it. So it'll be interesting to kind of keep track of and watch. Um, I like I said, I don't know if he's going to win this case. And honestly, I don't have a horse in this fight, or horse in this fight. Horses don't fight. I don't have a horse in this race. Dogs fight. All right, I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't have a horse in this race. Thing is, I'm not necessarily like okay. Well, if I had to pick a side, if I had to, I'm gonna go with Vance because listen, at the end of the day, I would defend creators who create. I would defend originators. I would defend, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just on that. I'm on that side always, right? If you take something from somebody and they've created something, and you take that and use that as a basis to build your brand, your platform, your name, I have a problem with that because you wouldn't want it happening to you. You know what I'm saying? So, but the problem is the people have little sympathy for these brands for a number of reasons. One, they feel jaded because, you know, hype and resale has made it hard to get the shoes they like, and the brands aren't helping with that. So, yeah, it's hard to feel sympathy for those brands. Two, they big $1 billion brands, so a lot of people figure, well, they can, you know, they can eat that loss. You know, like yeah, that's a knockoff of their shoe, but they're $1 billion company. Like what's a couple thousand of them? So I get why people don't necessarily rush to empathize with the brands, but at the end of the day, let's just say it's not a big brand. Let's just say it's a small brand, and they stole somebody idea. Do you feel empathy now? You know, does it matter if it's a woman or a man? Does it matter if it's a black brand? Does it matter if it's an Asian brand? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what matters to you in that argument in the grand scheme of things? At the end of the day, stealing is stealing to me. Knockoffs are knockoffs to me. I don't care how you try to paint it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how you try to window dress. That your argument. Like at the end of the day, stealing is stealing. Point blank. Period. And there's a price to pay for that. And that's just how I feel about it. Like I mean, and I hate to sound like, like I said, like, and it's funny how people get mad at that. Like, oh man, you just carrying Nike's water. Like, me saying Nike. Look, anybody that's following the show a long time know I've given them enough shit when they're wrong, and when they're right, or when it's justified to defend them, I'll defend them. And it ain't just a Nike thing. Like Vans or any other brand. If you create something and somebody steals it, just yesterday I just talked about the what was it I forgot his real name, but he goes by Adobe Bryan on Instagram. Talked about his case, how Nike stole his idea. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just against stealing. Like I know how hard it is as a creator to try to create something new and unique just to see some other entity, especially the bigger entities, because they feel like they can get away with it. I know how that feels to, put all that work into creating something new, cool, and fresh just to have somebody else rip it off. I know how that feels. So, I mean, to me, it's not a lot of things are black and white, but when it comes to that, it is. Uh, Gigantor, like how much? I feel like, do you work at Mischief, Gigantor? How much are they paying you to say this stuff? No, I'm playing with you. Um, Van should protect what's theirs. The Mischief is causing hype and loves the attention, so they're not hurting either. Kryptonite says, I thought it was a collab at first until I saw it was Mischief. Yeah, at this point, you should just assume that if Mischief is involved, chances are the brand has nothing to do with whatever he's got coming out. I will say this though, while I would never wear the shoe, especially down a flight of stairs, as somebody mentioned, uh, they were interesting. I will say they were creative. I will give them that. If this honestly, if this was a legitimate collab, I would even say they were pretty dope. I will give them that. Like I don't actually hate the shoe at all. Like would I wear them? No. I mean, imagine a size 15 of them shoes. Like just nah. But it was unique. It was different. I will give Mischief that. When he says it's transformative and it's artistic, I tend to agree with that. I just think he undermines his own argument when he uses them to sell and he's starting his own sneaker brand. And then it's like, okay, you've undermined your own argument at this point. So, but I do think that they were unique and different, and on some level, cool. You know, if not for me, for other folk, that could potentially get away with that. So and honestly, now thinking about it, it would have been cool to see them work together on that if they could have found some type of common ground. I'm pretty sure Vans wanting half the profits, was the sticky point for Daniel and the Mischief brand. So if they could have found a number that worked, that'd have been great. But and I can't say I can't even say Vans is wrong for asking for half because you are at the end of the day using their trademark and to build the shoe off of and the attention surrounding it. So can't say that I disagree with them wanting 50% on that, but I do think in the grand scheme of things, it probably would have been more beneficial for both sides to come together on this one because it was a unique shoe. It was definitely a unique shoe. Size 15 makes them the wavy seniors. Oh, y'all got jokes. Y'all got jokes. All right, y'all got jokes. But but yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how that all plays out. Real quick, I really wanted to get into this. Now, I should mention too that um, I know I said the show's gonna be from 9 to 11. I'm actually aiming for 9 to 12. I'm just saying 9 to 11 as of now to kind of give myself some latitude. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to go too far in the deep end just yet. Like, I want to spend some time in the shallow end, get my bearings up, learn how to swim first, and then go out there and swim with the sharks. Um, but I did want to get into this. Damn, where is it at? Oh wow, I can't even find it now. Hmm. Remind me, I'll have it for tomorrow. Then I thought I had it in here, but there was a store I had mentioned yesterday where they had broken to the store through the roof and stole 20 left shoes, not 20 pairs, just 20 of the left shoe. And I'm like, I remember reading that story and being like, seriously, like what? And I remember so there's a hidden episode that we didn't post, um, where me and Guru talk about, and me, Guru, and Dunks actually we talked about like because Guru worked in retail. He was talking about how people would do that. They would go to a store, steal like the left shoe, and then go to another store and steal the right shoe, so that you know have both pairs at some point. Which to me just logistically just sounds like you're making your job like I operate with work smarter, not harder. Right? Like I got to go to two stores. Once again, if I'm a steal, just get it over with. Like you know what I'm saying, I got to steal twice. Like it's the same rationale I use on connected flights. Like right, like I don't like flying, so I want nonstop. I don't want to have to do. I don't want to have to like stop in Atlanta and then go to Orlando. I want a straight flight to Orlando, right? So I don't want to go to one store to get the left shoe and have another store to go to the right shoe. No, I'm doing this nonstop. We're not doing these connected. I don't do connected flights, and I don't do connected thefts. If I'm doing nonstop thefts and nonstop flights, I'm going to one store and I'm getting what I need and I'm out. I'm not going to two. That's just. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's just how I think, right? And so anyway, that was the thing. So, but this store, believe, was a consignment shop or a resale shop, and yeah, and so that's where it started making sense to me because I can understand doing that at a retail store because they have, if it's the same store, they have similar inventories, right? Whereas consignment shop, like one resale shop might have this shoe and another one doesn't, and you're not even guaranteed to have the same size because it's not about inventory because they're getting shoes as they sell them. So I don't know, but I thought I had that whole story in front of me. I don't, so I'm gonna have that for tomorrow as well as. So we did a story yesterday. This story today was on what the story I was gonna do was on Lux Miami. That's the name of the store down in Miami. Um, and there was another story we read about yesterday where the guy shot at the shoplifters and ended up hitting a 9-year-old. So we had this segment called One Star Sneaker Store Reviews that we used to read, and just I would just pick random stores from random locations because it's funny, like it's hilarious. Usually, when people leave a review, if it's a good, so here's the funny thing: like when people are happy with a particular store and they leave them a good review, they just leave 5 stars and that's it. But when people hate their experience at a particular store, they'll give you 1 star and they will go into detail as to why. And those are always my favorites to read. And so we made that a segment. And so I was going to look up the reviews to this store as well as the store from yesterday and read them. But I would definitely get to that tomorrow. Stay tuned for tomorrow's show. We're going to get to that as well as hopefully I can get into, because I wanted to get into the conversation and kind of piggybacking off of these Benjamin Kicks situation where to me it kind of touches on the conversation about gatekeeping that I've seen a lot of people having lately, and so I really wanted to touch it in that, which I feel like also touches on the issue or conversation about race in sneakers and whatnot. So I definitely want to tap into that. And when I say race in sneakers, this isn't about to be, I know as soon as you say the word race, it just ruffles feathers, right? Because some people are over it. Some people would rather not talk about it because they feel like talking about it continues to make it an issue, which I kind of feel like is an entitled position to have. Is like just because you don't have to deal with it or just because you're tired of it, hearing about it doesn't mean that it doesn't still affect people in a tangible way in their day-to-day lives. So, yeah. Uh, Gigantor said he's off. He needs if I need an intern. If you're in Detroit, we can make that happen. Um, but yeah, so anyway, definitely gonna have that for tomorrow's show. I definitely appreciate everybody that was in the chat today. Kryptonite Souls, Gigantor 38, Jesse Christ, Babs and Kicks, my favorite person in the world. Definitely. And also too, make sure if you weren't able to join the chat today, or participate in the chat, Feel free to call our voicemail hotline 248-677-1803. Leave us a voicemail and I will address it on tomorrow's show or a future show. We definitely want to make this more of an engaging thing. We want to do this every day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to at least 11 a.m. And also make sure to, follow us on social media. Follow us on Twitter at TSB underscore show. Follow us on Instagram at the Sneakerbox underscore show. And then look for us on Facebook by looking up the Sneakerbox radio show page and leave us some feedback. Hopefully constructive too. Like if you like the show, let us know what you like. If there's something you think we can improve on as far as this whole radio show format, let me know as well. I know I'm doing this solo dolo, and I tend to riff depending on the conversation. I don't know if you guys like that or not. Um, I don't know if that's a thing. Like if I want me to kind of scale it back, or if you like how I just kind of riff on different topics. Let me know, because I want this show to be for you guys. Like, I don't want it just to be so I can hear myself talk. Um, I can spare everybody the trouble and just talk to myself, But, I want this to be something that you guys look forward to every day. And, yeah, man, this is definitely, um, what's the word? This is definitely a passion project. And so, anyway, man, I appreciate everybody in the chat. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Once again, look for us tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Sneaker Bar Detroit's YouTube channel. I am the African Caesar. This is the Sneaker Box. See you tomorrow. Mo.